Jay's new video, he did a Naruto video. It's actually pretty cool. The title and everything. It's ranking the top 20 Naruto characters from weakest to strongest. So that's what we're going to be basically checking out. You guys ready the vibes. Make sure to check out Jay the Great. Just like any other reaction video I've ever done. You know, make sure to give him all the love and support. Check out, he has tons of things. Streams, videos, IRL, Naruto, other animes, you know, all kinds of stuff. Like if you need some content and want to enjoy and get some entertainment, like I said, it's the place to go. Get the brother love and whatnot. His membership is also including some special IRL on vlogs and whatnot to prepare for the whole noodles, you know, boxing match and whatnot. So he has a lot of stuff. Make sure to check out his stuff. You name it. I'll put him also in the title of the video too. But you guys know it. But let's get into the video and let's do it. I'm over here. Can't even hear.
Video, I'll be ranking the top 20 characters in Naruto from weakest to strongest. I decided to do this video due to how contentious the comparisons between certain shinobi are amongst the Naruto fandom, and due to the common misconceptions as well people in the fandom have of certain shinobi, mostly because of the bias towards or against these shinobi. Now, to establish the parameters of this video, I will only be ranking characters up to chapter 700 of the Naruto manga, meaning no Boruto verse scaling will be taking place here. But of course, let me know in the comments.
Well, that makes sense, yeah, because if we do Boruto, bro, from like there'd be like no Naruto should put in characters from the 20 list. Like there'd be none. Like, at least I don't think so. I would have to really think hard about that. But
if you guys would like a ranking video where I do just that. Additionally, to make the ranking as accurate as possible, I will not be scaling iterations of characters we have no real empirical evidence for. For example, I would only scale Old Man Hiruzen rather than Prime Hiruzen, as empirically the latter iteration essentially has no feats. Now, as far as the
okay, that's fair, yeah. So he's not doing Prime Hiruzen because the only thing you really have for Hiruzen, like his prime, is that he was like stated to be like what, the strongest Hokage. You know what I mean? You name it, so that being like everybody basically, you know. And whatnot, so it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, is that really the case, you know? But it's just statements and stuff, so it's like, it's really hard. And he has no feats, literally featless. So it's like, we really don't know. And when we do know in Naruto, whenever it comes to statements, it's already contentious to begin with, because there's so many statements, and it could just mean so many things. Either different interpretations, it could be a hyperbole, it could be hyperliteral, you name it, etc., the whole nine. So, unfortunately, when it comes to the statement, maybe he's the strongest Hokage when it came to military strength. Maybe he's the strongest Hokage when it comes to other aspects and degrees, you know what I mean? But not overall stats-wise, right? You know, because I'm going to be honest with you, it's really, really hard for me to believe Hiruzen could have been way more stronger than Hashirama, you know what I mean? And been, like, far, far surpassed him in Madara. And then, like, you know, and then, like, he's getting older, and then he just gets, like, super fucking weak to where now he's back to, like, Sonin tier, basically. It's, like, it's really hard for me to kind of believe that would really be the case, you know. I'm just saying, you know, that's all I'm saying. Like, cause like, for instance, like, look at even like Sasuke, you know, he gets older. Look at Naruto, he gets older, you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It's, I don't know, bro, but it's overall, like, you know, I do know that when you get older, you know what I mean, obviously you can get weaker, but that's when you're getting super, super old, you know what I mean? Like, not like, you know, middle-aged or fucking, you know, or even, like, overall, like, it's just, yeah, but that's a good decision he's making. Like, if we obviously count that, then obviously that would change a lot of things, you know?
Power scaling is concerned,
but it's not that important. It really isn't.
Using primarily the manga and data books, as well as the anime at times, if it coincides with the narrative, meaning there will be no use of novels, video games, or fan books in this video.
Oh, wow.
And as always, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe.
Damn, no novels, no fan books, no games, goddamn, just manga. Wait, did he say anime?
Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. No feats. Now, as far as the power scaling is concerned, I'm going to be using primarily the manga and data books, as well as the anime at times if it coincides with the narrative, meaning there will be no use of novels, video games, or fan books in this video.
Okay.
And as always, if you do enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button.
So yeah, anime and manga is fine, but just no fan books and novels and game. Okay.
Subscribe to the channel if you're new, as that greatly helps the growth of the channel. But with all that out of the way, let's get straight into it. So I would like to start out by noting that aside from the numeric ranking positions for each character, I'll also have tiers for certain section of characters and certain rankings to further illustrate the caliber and difference in caliber between certain characters as well. with the first tier being Signing Plus, with spot number 20 going to the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi.
Okay.
Specifically, the iteration of this character we see in his later years, from chapters 1 to 138, where he eventually loses his life defending the village from Orochimaru, and chapters 618 to 691, where we see a reanimated Hiruzen during the 4th Great Shinobi War aid the Shinobi Alliance. This iteration can be scaled more accurately as opposed to Prime Hiruzen, who has no concrete empirical feats, which is why I chose to scale this version of Hiruzen instead. Hiruzen Sarutobi was heralded as a professor, being stated to have knowledge of all jutsu within Konoha, with him being able to go toe-to-toe with Prime Orochimaru, who was able to successfully assassinate the 4th Kazekage, fight Jiraiya while armless, and even fight off Four Tails Naruto near his own death.
So, I will say this before I continue. It's actually good what he's doing, because Edo Hiruzen is basically Prime Hiruzen in a sense, or basically young Hiruzen, right? The one that we saw during the Nine Tails incident, or even the one Orochimaru says, if you were 10 years younger, you could be able to kill me. But since you're old, it's kind of fair game, buddy, and I'm gonna kill you. You know what I mean? So it's like, so overall, like, that's probably the closest we'll ever get to seeing Hiruzen's true potential. You know what I mean? Feats wise, you name it, all that. So that's not bad at all to do, and that's just how Edos work. You know, if you're old and you're an Edo, you don't have to deal with the drawbacks of old age crippling and making you weak or whatever, or chakra and stamina issues, yada yada, right? You don't have to deal with that. It's the same thing as having a sickness like Kimimaro and Itachi. They lose their sickness, now they're fucking cracked, right? You know, so it's like, it's overall, that's just how Edo Tensei works, and it helps. It's very beneficial, and that's the closest we can see. So that makes very good logical sense that he's doing that for Hiruzen. And that, you know, that's all I really go with that, but it makes sense. And obviously the younger Hiruzen would be above the Sonning, which is why he'd be Sonning Plus, like Jay even showed. Old Hiruzen is still Sonning Plus because he still technically won in the end. He was like slightly over, even though even though Orochimaru survived, but like if he was just had more stamina and chakra, they both would have died. You know what I mean? It would have been like a stalemate basically. So it's like, he's still technically Sonning Plus, you know, like there's even moments where like he even like completely like was dogging Orochimaru, you know, when he like, you know, got like really mentally amped, you know, or was like going through doing his thing, you know. So it's like even that, but overall, if you're just don't want to even count any of that or whatever, or be technical, you could just say he's Sonning level at that point. Old Hiruzen, you know what I mean? But other than that, that's kind of what you're working with. But if we're taking him at his strongest, and I'm assuming Jay's taking all these characters at their peak, right? You know, then it makes sense for Hiruzen to be Sonning Plus. I agree.
Allowing us to deduce that Hiruzen Sarutobi is at a blatant Sonning Plus level,
Yeah.
even as an old man. His high caliber is then further illustrated when, as an Edo, he was able to single-handedly have more success, even as an old man, against Zetsu-enhanced Yamato in comparison to a small platoon of shinobi, which included several Kage and several Nine-Tail Am shinobi.
Let's be real too. I know I'm calling it right now, but I'm pretty sure Naruto will be the most powerful. Oh, actually, nah, it'd probably be I'd say Kaguya might be number one. I don't know. I'm really interested what he's gonna do with the last 5, but Kaguya will probably be number 1, then DMS Kakashi, and then Naruto. I think that'll be 3, and then obviously Sasuke will be 4. But I don't know. That's me just thinking right now, as of now, until I see what Jay's thoughts and whatever you name it. Because like I said, I tell you guys all the time, when I do reactions, I just kind of spit and go off my memory, you name it, etc. Right? And do the best I can until I'm actually doing the homework and actually going through Naruto, going through the manga, you name it, etc. Then I can finally really give my objective stance or subjective stance, you know? So, but anyways.
However, to be fair, the Kage here were out of chakra and fatigued, while Hiruzen was an Edo, meaning he had infinite chakra and had no fatigue issues.
Yep.
So I'm not saying he is above this platoon, but rather wanted to further illustrate the amount of power he can generate near full power, and also how high caliber of a shinobi he truly is.
Correct.
In short,
Correct.
Hiruzen was one of the strongest shinobi on Earth during his respective era, knowing all 5 basic chakra natures, and having a vast knowledge in jutsu, which garnered him great respect throughout the 5 nations in the shinobi world.
That's pretty cool, he did that.
Next up at number 19, we have Tobirama Senju. Now before I get into why he is placed at this spot, I'm first going to discuss an aspect of Tobirama that I feel must be discussed with the recent misconceptions I've been seeing floating around the community, with that aspect being his speed. So the single event in question that has caused his speed to become deeply misunderstood and inaccurate.
So he has Tobirama above Hiruzen. Okay.
Scaled is when Jubito attacks Hashirama and Tobarama simultaneously. Now, as we all know, shortly after this attack is executed, we then see multiple paper bombs scattered upon Jubito's body, as well as a flying thunder god marking placed upon his left armpit, with this observation and event being the reason and catalyst for the claim that Tobarama manually placed these paper bombs, as well as a flying thunder god marking, indicating he is relative or even perhaps superior to Jubito in speed. Hence, I'm going to debunk why that claim is highly unlikely, and why Tobarama being not physically fast is just not the case. Firstly, there are other empirical pieces of evidence that contradict this theory, such as Tobarama in the anime.
Tobarama fans are crying right now. They're crying. They're pissed.
Other Hashirama and Madara battling in awe helplessly, indicating his inferiority to them, as well as Hashirama stating his own inferiority to Jubito directly, meaning transitively Tobarama being inferior as well. Now, if I couldn't make it any more obvious with that, Mamoru Uchiha also states blatantly that only Hashirama was ever able to stop him during their era as well, i.e. Tobarama was not. Now, I know Tobarama fans are asking themselves, and
not only that, there's even other statements of Kabuto saying Hashirama was the strongest, okay, and so on and so forth. Only Madara can fight him, whatever. There's even another statement where Don says the only person that can beat Madara is Hashirama. It's just stated so many times. Tobirama does not scale over them or can scale to them. He can't fuck with them, okay? So, like, the only thing Tobirama can use is flying Raisen Jutsu activation in order to try to survive to a certain regard. But once he gets gassed out and he's fatigued, he's fucked. You know what I mean? So, like, overall, Tobirama just can't fuck with those people. It's stated so many times. In the anime, it's blatantly showed, okay, that EMS, Madara, and Hashirama are way over, you name it. And then not only that, even further, okay, when they're both extremely fatigued and Madara was defeated, Tobirama goes to kill Madara, Hashirama gets bloodlusted and literally says, nobody touch him, and then looks at his brother, and his brother, like, immediately sweats and gets like, oh my god, like, he was, like, very, like, you know, scared, basically, and he was, like, shitting his pants, because his brother was, like, bloodlusted and, like, dead serious, like, if anybody tries to fuck with him, I'm gonna kill you, you know? So it's, like, there's that, and then Madara tells Hashirama, like, okay, kill your brother, whatever, and then we can finally be even, right? You know what I mean? Since you want to talk about all this peace or understanding each other and whatnot. And then, and you know, and Hashirama says, he says either kill yourself or kill your brother, right? And then Tobirama's like, what's it called? Really, brother? Are you insane? You're gonna really kill me or whatever, blah, blah, yada, yada. So even then, Tobirama still, like, can't do nothing, right? This is an extremely fatigued Hashirama, and he can't do shit, you know? And in the anime, he can't participate in the fight. He can't do nothing. He actually was going to help. But when he saw Madara go perfect Susanoo, you name it, whatever, his jaw was dropping. He was like, oh my god. Then he has to hide behind a tree. And this is before his perfect Susanoo, when Madara is just flexing his chakra as with Susanoo. He's hiding behind a tree. Like, he's just ass. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to fucking tell you, bro. He can't hang with those people. And then most importantly, further evidence, like, even in the Final Valley when they fought again, Tobirama was nowhere to be found. He cannot fight Madara. He cannot do anything. He can't be part of that battle. It doesn't help. You know what I mean? So, like, there's that evidence. Then we see in the war arc, Tobirama can't help again. He can't do anything. He can't help Hashirama fight Madara. It was Hashirama fighting Madara. And then, like, they fight in base. Then Hashirama goes Sage mode. Madara is using the Rinnegan. They're fighting still, whatever. They're going maxed out and shit, you know? So, like, there's just so much evidence to clearly show where Tobirama is, along with what he showed in the video. And we even see again narratively when Tobirama gets serious and bloodlusted and he tries to flex his chakra and then kill Sasuke after threatening Konoha. And then Hashirama flexes his chakra, and that's when everybody gets fucking scared and like, oh god, this is really bad. And Hashirama bitches him again and says, lower your finger. And he once again, he gets scared. He's sweating. He's like, okay, brother, you know, whatever, blah, blah, calm down. You know, like, all right. You know, so it's like, it's blatantly clear who's over who. Like, it's just completely dishonest and just ridiculous how far people try to get Tobirama in scaling. To where they'll say he's above Hashirama and Madara, or they'll say he scales to 6 past Jubito and now he's blatantly above them all. Like, it's so dishonest. But anyways, let's continue.
Well, how did the paper bombs and flying thunder god marking get there then? Well, simply put, after the paper bombs and flying thunder god marking are placed, Tobirama explains that he had this ancillary jutsu already pre-established along with his reanimation jutsu even before he was reanimated, with him stating that this was the first time he used this jutsu upon himself, indicating these paper bombs were already available and simply just scattered amongst Jubito's body after blitzing Hashirama and Tobirama successfully. Now, as far as the flying thunder god marking, when considering its location on Jubito's body, the most rational conclusion is that Tobirama simply perceived Jubito, giving him enough time to summon the marking, which doesn't require a physical reaction, but instead only perception, as only that is required for your neurotransmitters to fire and have thoughts, commands, etc., as Tobirama's right hand would have been approximately around Jubito's left armpit already, as Jubito blitzed into him. Hence, no, Tobirama is not Jubito's speed physically, and in fact is most likely not even close. But with that out of the way, let's get back to explaining the rankings. Being one of the most prominent Uchiha slayers of all time in Naruto history, and also heralded as the fastest of his time thanks to the Flying Raijin, Tobirama Senju was truly one of the top shinobi in the world. He is known as the man to kill a Xeno Uchiha via Flying Raijin, as well as a pioneer in several high-profile high-level jutsu, being the founder of multiple of them, including the Shadow Clone Jutsu and
intelligence is goated.
Reanimation jutsu. We see more tangible feats empirically of Tobirama during the war arc when he is reanimated by Orochimaru, where he is shown being able to perceive an unstable Jubito, which allowed him to place a Flying Raijin seal on him when Jubito physically blitzed him. Additionally, he is shown working side by side with Naruto and Minato to combat Jubito, with them having some success against him via Flying Raijin, Senjutsu, and intelligent battle strategizing, even coming to the deduction that combining his and Minato's Flying Raijins increases its speed as well, which would, as a byproduct, increase the likelihood of successfully hitting Jubito with an attack. Now, for those wondering why he is above Hiruzen despite the databook stating Hiruzen surpassed his predecessor, firstly, I ranked Old Man Hiruzen and not Prime Hiruzen, and secondly, when comparing the available empirical feats for each, Tobirama has a more impressive showings, indicating that the higher possibility claim is that Tobirama is superior to Old Man Hiruzen.
Okay, so if it's Old Hiruzen, I would agree, absolutely. That I would agree with. And the reason why, because think of it this way too, you have basically Old Man Hiruzen, he basically is equal to the Sonic, right? And that's like to the base form, you know? The Sonic even have another form beyond that. So it's like, and that's kind of where he's at, right? You know what I mean? And then we have Tobirama, who has cracked jutsu activation and perception, right? And could literally be able to use Flying Raijin against Alive Madara, against, you know, Jubito and things like that, whatever, so on and so forth. And then you have, you know, like everything with Old Man Hiruzen. Like, it just overall, it's just way better comparing the feats, you name it, etc. Now, when it comes to like his normal body speed and stuff, that's where it's like, like where does he actually fall? You know what I mean? And that's where it gets really interesting. But you know, when it comes to his body speed, for what we at least get to see, and you name it, it's pretty similar to the other Hokages. Like, we see actually all of them race to get to the battlefield. And Hashirama, Tobirama was last, basically. If we actually... So, Hiruzen gets here first. And then Tobirama and Hashirama get there at the same time. But actually, let me see who was first, technically. Hang on. Okay, so Tobirama was first and Hashirama was last, but he got there like a second after, you know what I mean? But yeah, so overall, like, that's what you're working with. So basically what this shows, okay, we have Minato that gets there way faster a long time ago. Then we have Hiruzen that gets there, then Tobirama, then Hashirama, okay? And they're all moving at their max speed, remind you, okay? So... just saying, bro, you know, just saying, what's it called? So, like, Hiruzen's slightly faster than these two. Minato's way faster than all of them, okay? You know what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of what you're having. But you have that, you know. So, like, when it comes to, like, his speed, like, his normal speed, you know, it's lower than Hiruzen, or at least, you know, Prime Hiruzen. And this is not Old Hiruzen, technically. That's why he said he would be over Old Hiruzen. But yeah, so like overall, that's kind of what you're working with. And we even see this Hiruzen as an Edo. He's even more faster. Like when it comes to the divine trees, Tobirama couldn't do shit. He couldn't cut it. He couldn't do it, whatever, you name it. And he did water style. That wasn't fast enough. So even his water style speed isn't fast enough. Then Hiruzen comes with his pole and he's just fucking shit up. You know what I mean? and saves Naruto, and he was just blatantly, by feats, combat speed, or actually name it, just way superior. So these two are faster than Tobirama and Hashirama when it comes to combat and reaction speed and all that, you name it. And that's basically what you're working with, you know? So that's kind of what you have, you know what I mean? So overall, like, he's pretty fucking fast. He's, you know, he's not that bad. But, like, it's just, once again, we don't really have a lot for Tobirama. That's the problem. We really don't know. The only thing that we do know is he did lose to Kin and Gin, you know what I mean, and whatnot, and you name it, and we kind of see how their scaling goes and whatnot. So overall, like, his speed body scaling is basically around, like, you know, high tier Jonin, you know what I mean, or low Kage. Basically, he's like low Kage speed, you know, around there, you know, like, at least from, like, with the Kin and Gin interaction, you can kind of, like, have, like, some estimation with that. But if you go a little bit further, okay, you know, and he wasn't that far behind from Hiruzen, it did take him a little bit more longer, but he does get there eventually. You could make arguments for him to be mid Kage level, which is around Sani, you know what I mean, or above, okay, around that, you know, amount of speed for body. That's kind of what you're working with Tobirama. Overall, he's obviously Kage level, so whether you think he's low Kage level in speed or mid Kage level in speed, that's what you're kind of working with. While this guy is high Kage level in speed, okay, and so on and so forth. That's all it is, so.
To the antithesis. At number 18, we have the fourth Raikage, A. And of course, I will first establish why A is above Tobirama, specifically, as I know many Tobirama fans are probably seething right now. Unfortunately, the best method to deduce and conclude who is superior is to go based off the empirical evidence available for Tobirama and the fourth Raikage. When the four reanimated Hokage go to the battlefield to aid the Shinobi Alliance,
shows it. See, he just showed it.
Gets there significantly faster,
Yep.
even being able to have a conversation with Naruto before the Hokage even arrived, which results in Tobirama even admitting that Minato has a better body flicker than him. Additionally,
and not only that, like, he has a whole conversation, he teleports a 10 Tails BG Bomb, and places his markers.
To now debunk the common refutation,
way faster,
which is that
and then Hiruzen acknowledges it, and then Tobirama concedes, you're faster at teleporting than me.
is travel speed and not combat speed. Firstly, this ability can be used in either, as Shisui was known as the teleporter because of his ridiculous speed with his own body flicker in battle. And secondly, in fiction battle-based verses, usually when an individual has greater travel speed, they usually have greater combat speed as well, such as Flash with the DC Universe. Hence the common analogy I always hear, which is a boxer's punch versus an Olympic runner's sprint speed, is a false equivalency, as that is not how speed is illustrated generally in fictional battle-based verses such as Naruto. Now, as far as the fourth Raikage, he is deemed as one of the fastest shinobi on Earth. And
look at that. They're moving and fighting. Further proving what Jay just said, and that's shown throughout in all of Naruto. Rock Lee, it's shown. His travel and combat's the same in reaction. Fucking Minato, Raikage, all that speed, basically just label as body speed, right? We don't need to say combat, reaction, and travel, okay? Their body speeds are always in sync. Every fucking time. Now, in animes, there can be moments where it is only travel and then reaction and combat. That is a thing. But in Naruto, that is not how that works. For speedster characters, all of that is in one. And it's stated verbatim that the Raikage's nerve transmission and with his lightning cloak armor, what's it called? All that stuff in his reaction speed and combat speed is literally with the yellow flashes, speed or whatever, blah blah, you name it. It's talking about all of it, not just travel and just to move. It's fucking dishonest and stupid. Now, there can be instances like that, okay, but in Naruto, that's not the case, and I'm glad he brought that up.
Stated to be equal to the fourth Hokage in speed in the data books, and implied to be somewhat arbitrarily relative to the fourth Hokage in the manga as well. Yeah. Aside from this, the Raikage has success against better opponents as in comparison to Tobirama empirically, such as 5 Kage Summit Sasuke and Casing 1 Naruto, as opposed to Tobirama, who possibly lost to Kin and Gin on more than one occasion, even with the second Raikage aiding him in one of those instances, with Kin and Gin, truth be told, not performing very well and actually quite poorly as Edos in the war. However, truth be told, the scaling between Tobirama and the Raikage is quite close, as the Raikage was quite outperformed speed-wise by Minato as well in their altercation during the Third Great Shinobi War. So if you want to place Tobirama above him, I wouldn't blame you. which is also why I have these two in the same tier, as I do think it is considerably contentious. A's most impressive empirical feats include showing relativity and speed to 5 Kage-Summon Sasuke in only his V1 form, and showing relativity to even early War Art Casing 1 Naruto at his fastest, being in his V2 version during this feat, with the databooks even implying that he is relativistic to the speed of light, meaning from here on out we could assume that everyone above this position is also a bare minimum relativistic to the speed of light. Additionally, apart from his speed is his very high levels of durability, which is even further enhanced by his lightning cloak, being able to even essentially tank Ichidori from 5 Kage-Summon Sasuke, only leaving a slight wound, with him also possessing significantly high levels of AP as well, being enough to shatter and go through 5 Kage-Summon Sasuke's Susanoo ribcage, even while being encapsulated with Amaterasu. Hence, it is very clear that during his time, there weren't many shinobi on the planet that could even contend with A, with him clearly being one of the most powerful shinobi of his time, and I would go as far as to say one of the fastest shinobi of all time as well.
Facts.
We now get into the high Kage tier at number 17, with this spot going to the 4th Hokage, Minato Namikaze. Heralded as the fastest shinobi of his lifetime, Minato would instill fear in entire nations, such as a stone village, with them going as far as to even enact a run-on-site order upon his own military forces, due to his blatant superiority to even entire platoons of shinobi. To quickly substantiate his placing above the others below him, he is blatantly shown casually outspeeding the 4th Hokage at his full speed, which allows for the easy conclusion that he is above him, and transitively everyone below him as well. Now, for those that say Killer B is faster, or at least relative to him, as he intercepted Minato's attack attempt upon the Raikage, firstly, Minato was not bloodlusted, and secondly, never once did he use the Flying Raijin during that time, which he could have done at any point, having multiple Flying Thunder God markings throughout the battlefield. So no, Killer B is not above him either, and not even above the 4th Raikage in speed, if we're being honest. Other notable feats that Minato had throughout his career include being the only one pre-War Arc to deduce the workings of Kamui and defeat Obito, and also reacting to Jubidara's true Sugi norms before they even reach 8th Gate Guy. But to be fair, this was only a perception feat rather than a physical one, but either way still impressive nonetheless. Even while in a daze and having a mental nerf according to the databooks due to the guilt he felt for failing Obito, he still displayed speeds relative or even above Tobirama and casing to Naruto at times. Hence, excluding 6 past tier characters and above, Minato is in the upper echelon of power in the Naruto verse as far as speed and blatant ability as a shinobi. Now, around this part of the ranking is where I started to realize it would become especially inevitably contentious, as opinions vary widely for the following few shinobi that have been discussed and will be discussed shortly, as they are highly respected and have good arguments for them being over the others. Either way though, here's my ranking, with number 16 going to Nagato Uzumaki, specifically in his prime. Now, for those wondering why am I not scaling Pain specifically, he has never really shown engaging in combat at his best empirically, with his only feats being the weaker passive Pain versus Jiraiya and the fatigue Pain against Naruto. However, for those who care, I am under the impression that Pain at full power is at least relative to Nagato, with there being pros and cons for both iterations. For example, Nagato being susceptible to a Genjutsu defeat as opposed to the passive Pain, as they would simply deactivate with Genjutsu, not necessarily affecting Nagato directly. Either way, being objective, it would be tough to prove Pain's true scaling with the numerous confounding variables that would be involved, which would lead to high amounts of speculation, which is why again, I'm choosing to scale Nagato instead. The closest we see Nagato to his prime is him as an Edo during the 4th Great Shinobi War, where he is shown dominant.
That makes sense. You know, I can't disagree with that. You know, you name it. One thing I will say with the whole Minato thing, I'm assuming he's saying that's only for joining Minato, not Hokage Minato. Or that was overall. I don't know. But we'll see. Because I'm going to say this. Nagato being over Minato is going to piss off a lot of Minato fans, bro. I'm cool with it. I love Pain and Nagato, but I'm just saying.
And outspeeding Casing when Naruto and Killer B quite handedly.
Oh yeah, shit it on.
He would have most likely even overpowered and killed them via soul extraction, if not for Itachi's quick intervention. To be quite honest, even his feats as Pain are quite ridiculous, being able to outspeed and combat 6 Tails Naruto, and even contain up until 8 Tails Naruto highly fatigued with the Chibaku Tensei. So with his high levels of both speed and AP, alongside his many ridiculous hacks abilities such as the Shindo Tensei, Chibaku Tensei, etc., Nagato was able to conquer entire nations with relative ease. Hence, at his best, Nagato has speeds even surpassing the likes of Minato and KCM1 Naruto,
Yep.
and AP high enough to possibly even kill Perfect Jinchurikis, as Itachi deduced that him, Naruto, and B needed to combine all of their highest AP long-distance ninjutsu to destroy the nucleus of Nagato's Chibaku Tensei in their altercation. Hence, during his time, Nagato Uzumaki was blatantly at least a top 5 shinobi on the face of the planet. Next up at number 15, we have Kabuto Yakushi. Firstly, I must note that Kabuto is a highly underrated character and typically doesn't get the credit that he deserves, nor is scaled as highly as he should be. Kabuto, after Orochimaru's death, would take what he learned from Orochimaru and add on top of that by making himself a perfect snake sage, which is a feat, by the way, that not even Orochimaru was able to accomplish, and even added abilities on top of that, such as Toigetsu's self-liquefaction ability and Karin's healing ability. He was capable of single-handedly beginning a world war with his new and improved reanimation jutsu, where the Edo Tensei under his control were nearly at full power, and with his abilities was such a threat that even Obito with a Renegon was forced to compromise with him to an extent. Additionally, as a combatant, he was able to go toe-to-toe with Edo Itachi and EMS Sasuke while holding back against Sasuke, but to be fair, Itachi and Sasuke were also holding back to ensure the undoing of the reanimation jutsu. Yeah. During this altercation, Kabuto was able to successfully strike Itachi on multiple occasions, and also use multiple genjutsu against both Sasuke and Itachi simultaneously. Hence, it is very clear that Kabuto during that point in the war arc was truly one of the most powerful shinobi, even above the likes of several legendary shinobi, such as the 3rd Hokage, the 4th Kazekage, etc., having them under his literal control.
One thing I will say here, though, what's it called? I do think so. It's contentious, but if you argue a certain way for Nagato, you can have him over Kabuto, EMS Sasuke, and Itachi. You can be able to do that. But if you argue another way, which is basically what Jay is doing, then Nagato would be below those guys.
At number 14, we have Itachi Uchiha, specifically at his prime, and again, similar to Nagato, while alive, we never truly see Itachi use his full potential, as he was undercover during his time with the Akatsuki.
We really only see it as an Edo, and he's basically shown to be equal to KCM Naruto, and then he speed blitzes Nagato within the right circumstances, and then and then he even has his fight against Sage Kabuto, and he was holding back, but he still did a very, very great job. And plenty of times reacting and combating against Sage Naruto, even cutting his horn and stuff. And then was able to place him in a genjutsu with the Izanami. So he did a very good job. And that's him holding back, remind you. While Kabuto is trying to kill Itachi. So, like, Itachi's still blatantly over Kabuto. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But now, I will say this, all because he's not trying to kill Kabuto, you know what I mean? Like, to be fair, like, what's it called? He could still be traveling at his max speed, right? You name it and whatever. But at the same time, it's like that whole fight is really contentious because he's an Edo, so it doesn't matter if he gets hit. And then 2, he needs to set up certain events for Izanami to be a thing too. So there's many reasons why he could even just be getting hit by Sage Kabuto to begin with, and it doesn't actually mean Sage Kabuto would actually be able to tag Itachi. You know, you could say Sage Kabuto's relative, why not? But to say he's equal to Itachi in speed or above, I wouldn't go that far. Itachi would definitely be more superior. Because like I said, he was holding back, Kabuto's not. And he was still struggling with Itachi. So.
And on top of that, being also ill, meaning he wasn't even capable of reaching his full potential anyway. Hence, like Nagato, we see Itachi close to his prime as an Edo, and we see him more than likely use his full potential when combating Naruto and Killer Bee, and then Nagato shortly after he breaks out of the reanimation jutsu bind with Kodo Matsukami. Now, during this time, we see Itachi react and combat against Naruto and Killer Bee while only using a base Sharingan literally simultaneously, indicating speeds beyond even KCM1, and then later blitz Nagato with the Susanoo, who was also able to display speeds beyond KCM1, indicating Itachi is not only more than likely above KCM1 speed, but also above the speed Nagato is capable of as well. To even further reinforce Itachi's spot on this list, while holding back, we see Edo Itachi outperform Sage Kabuto at least enough to get him caught in the Izanami, even while having to protect Sasuke from being captured by Kabuto, while also being at a geological disadvantage being in a cave, with Kabuto being able to manipulate the cave with abilities such as inorganic animation. Aside from the high level...
And he's also blatantly above early EMS Sasuke too. Now, when he gets to late war EMS Sasuke, that's a different story, but...
levels of speed Itachi can operate at, His deadly arsenal also just further adds to his talents, possessing the Tsukuyomi, Susanoo, Tosca Blade, and
Yeah, he's
Yatagi.
cracked.
Meaning,
He's
with him
fucking
possessing a
cracked.
combination of blinding speed and one-shot ending hacks abilities,
Yep.
Itachi, when compared to the vast majority of the Naruto verse, is truly invincible. We now get into the Shinobi's Legend tier, with this tier simply meaning you have to be a shinobi that has no 6-pass chakra and or doesn't display feats on this level. With spot number 13 going to the first Hokage himself, Hashirama Senju.
Yeah.
Being given the title the God of Shinobi, Hashirama during his time would slay entire tailed beasts and give them away like mere pets with how much power
That's
he
really
possessed.
interesting.
And aside from
So
his power,
I think I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I think Jay has Minato below. Yeah, he has him below Nagato, and he has him below Itachi. So he thinks, and then he even also Seijun Kabuto basically. So he thinks Itachi, Seijun Kabuto, and Nagato would beat Minato. And he did admit that it was contentious and whatever, blah blah. But I'm just saying, it's really interesting.
would also wield a generation that was so efficient that it wouldn't even require hand signs, allowing him to fight for well over several hours at a time. Up until the tail end of the war arc, Hashirama was the only man ever to best Madara Uchiha in battle, even with the Nine Tails aiding Madara, a battle in which such power was used that the entire landscape was changed according to Madara. Hashirama would possess Sage Mode, where he could use wooden entities that even tailed beasts would pale in comparison to, and would wield these sort of bijou pacifying abilities as well that were even capable of temporarily containing the Ten Tails during the
suppressing
Fourth
them,
Great Shinobi War. Hence, truth be told,
or
Hashirama was
immobilizing
the
them.
single strongest non-6-pass Hokage to ever live, and to be quite frank, no one ever came close to him for the vast majority of Naruto history.
Yep.
We now get into the lower 6-pass tier, with the number 12 spot going to Obito, or more specifically, Jubito. Even while experiencing deep emotional and mental turmoil and even physical resistance from the Ten Tails itself.
Yeah, so I was right. Yeah, Jay's taking them at their max prime power. He probably said it in the beginning of the video and I just didn't hear it, but yeah.
Resulting in a volatile power level, Jubito was still capable of simultaneously blitzing Hashirama and Tobirama with relative ease.
But now thinking about it, that's really interesting because for Minato, then technically you would count KCM as well because he has KCM too, and he even has Sage Mode. I mean, so it's like, I wonder if he's separating KCM Minato separate from base Minato, or if he considered that all at once as well, because that changes things, at least in my opinion.
Reinforcing Hashirama's claim, which is that even he is inferior to Jubito. He was also capable of fighting multiple Hokage-level shinobi alongside Naruto and Sasuke, and truth be told, only lost quote-unquote due to him being Takano Jujin by Naruto. So at the point in Naruto history in which he was introduced, it is very clear that Jubito was the single most powerful entity we have ever seen, wielding abilities such as molding truth-seeking orbs which nullify almost everything in their path into several shapes and uses, such as a sword of Nunuboko, and shooting ten-tail bombs on command, capable of leveling land masses of considerable proportions. Hence, it is quite clear the gap between him and everyone else below him on this list is quite large, and so large in fact that again Kishimoto had to figure out a way for the protagonist to defeat him without really defeating him in an actual physical combat situation. So I'm quite certain this spot belongs to the right person, to most of you folks watching as well. At number 11, we have one of the only individuals with no actual 6-pass chakra in the lower 6-pass tier, with that being my guy. While in the 8 gates with the help of Lee and Minato, he was able to nearly kill Jubidara, which Jubidara even admitted himself, and was so impressed by him that he labeled him as the single greatest taijutsu user he has ever faced, even above the likes of Hashirama, with no one prior, including several Hokage alongside Naruto and Sasuke, being able to even scratch Jubidara, let alone morbidly wound him. And just to note, Jubidara is also stronger than Jubito, as he has the entire 9 and 8 tails within him, unlike Jubito who only had a fraction. So my guy being able to do this to someone even stronger.
And not only that, it's just stated, like Obito literally states he was stronger than him.
Stronger than Jubito would scale him naturally over Jubito, which is why he's above him. Additionally, with the 8 gates, my guy is able to combat at such high speeds that he literally begins to manipulate and warp a certain radius of space around the attacks he utilizes, such as when he used his Night Guy attack and was able to somewhat trap Jubidara within the space that the attack warped and encapsulated. Hence, despite the 8 gates killing Guy with only a short duration of its usage, my guy with this amp would one-shot almost certainly anyone below this spot with relative ease, which is the reason why my guy always had this ability as a last resort contingency plan if all else failed.
Yep.
Next up at number 10, we have the only other individual.
That was a goated transition. I gotta give him that. That was pretty solid for the editing, bro. That was fire.
No 6-pass chakra in the lower 6-pass tier, with that being Sakura Haruno. Now, I must first say, despite the hate she receives from the fandom and even from myself at times, power scaling wise, she is criminally underrated, as when you don't like someone, you typically develop a biased judgment of them. However, the truth is, Sakura during the war arc has highly impressive showings of speed, AP, and even durability. She is shown surviving being impelled by Jobidara, only to later outspeed an attack from Kaguya Otsutsuki that even Naruto in his 6-pass KCM form states is fast. She is then shown being able to blitz Kaguya, and not only blitz her, but actually damage her as well, which is observably shown in the manga as well, with Kaguya Otsutsuki being several leagues above the likes of Jubidara. Now, I'm not saying that Sakura is Kaguya Otsutsuki level, obviously, or even Jubidara level, but that still doesn't negate the much more impressive feats Sakura displays in comparison to everyone else below this spot. Hence, she is more than likely the single strongest non-6-pass character to ever live in the Naruto era, as much as I truly hate saying that, having my own bias against Sakura. We now get into the 6-pass.
So that's an interesting placement. So Sakura is a whole other can of worms, I'll say that. She is very, very interesting. She would either basically just be below a lot of fucking people, you know what I mean? And I mean a lot, like way, way down. Like, actually, probably not even mentioned on this list, if I'm being honest with you. But like, the only way you can really consider her to be on this list, and like basically what Jay's doing, is if you really, really grant and take into consideration of her feat against Kaguya, and that's basically it, right? Against Kaguya with 100 heals, basically, you know? And it's like, it's really interesting because it's like when we see her use 100 heals against Jubi Madara, and she even like gets mentally amped, and she's like, you know, I'm gonna be just like Naruto and Sasuke, and I don't want to be useless. She tries to fight Jubi Madara, and Jubi Madara just folds her effortlessly, you know. So it's like, and then you see Kaguya, who's way, way more stronger, you know, and then she's able to punch her and whatnot, you name it. So like, it depends how you analyze it, basically. If you go along the route and try to substantiate that those are just feats, and therefore there you go, and she's better, then great, right? If you then try to apply skepticism and say and explain why that even happened to begin with, meaning therefore it cannot basically be granted, or the fact that like, you know, there was context or so on and so on why she was even able to land the hit, and basically just argue inconsistency, right? Then, you know, you can kind of go that route and then basically dismiss it as a feat overall, but it's a whole thing, man. People have war with that shit, bro, when it comes to Sakura. There's been all kinds of debates, you name it, you know, it's crazy. So overall, me personally, because for one, I'm not really a fan of Sakura, and two, I can kind of go devil's advocate. If I had to really choose a route, I'd say she's not built like that, and she shouldn't just even be on this list, period. That's just me personally, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? You know, that's about it. But yeah, so overall, that's basically it. Another thing to also substantiate what Jay's saying too, in the gas her up further, there's even a statement where her using 100 healings chakra, you know what I mean, in that form, was going to be just as good as a clone of 6-pass Naruto's KCM2 Sage Mode clone. That's crazy. That's just great, because we already know how much chakra Naruto has, right? And imagine with 6-pass and KCM2 Sage Mode, you know, all that, you name it. And then Obito says, yeah, your 100 heals chakra will make up just enough in order to be able to use Kame and access Kaguya's dimension. That's pretty crazy too, you know, I'm just saying. But anyways.
Last tier, with Indra Otsutsuki coming in at number 9. Being one of two of Hagoromo Otsutsuki's sons, and also being born as the more talented of the two sons, Indra would possess very powerful ocular powers, which, like Madara Uchiha, allowed him to use perfect Susanoo alongside his genius level intellect, but at a much higher level, being at a blatant 6-pass level, being a direct descendant of the sage of 6-pass himself, again, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. He would instill fear throughout the ninja world, with only his brother seemingly being able to challenge him during his time. And as I am sure you guys have already guessed, at number 8 we have Ashura Otsutsuki, being the other one of the two sons Hagoromo had. Now, unlike Indra, Ashura would be born as sort of the runt of the two, but would attain power that would rival his older, more talented brother, thanks to the power of camaraderie and unity.
Yeah, Ashura was basically Hashirama and Naruto as a fusion. Like, he's cracked.
likely inherit the power of the Ten Tails when he was selected by his father, the Sage of Six Paths, to carry on his legacy and power. To even further substantiate his placing on this list, he would in fact have a direct physical confrontation with Indra, in which he triumphed utilizing Six Paths Senjutsu after reaching his full potential, forcing Indra to retreat as a result, where his hate for Ashura would only grow from there. Hence, after Hagoromo's death, Ashura would be the greatest and most powerful shinobi on Earth, most likely up until his own death. We now get into the upper Six Paths tier, with Hamura Otsutsuki coming in at number 7. Being one of 2 of Kaguya Otsutsuki's children, and the brother of the Sage of Six Paths himself, Hagoromo Otsutsuki, like Hagoromo, Hamura would inherit the immense power of Kaguya, possessing the Byakugan and high levels of chakra to go along with that. He can even be scaled as relative to his brother, being able to combat against Hagoromo, at least until Hagoromo decides to stop holding back and being on the defensive. Finally, clearly his most notable and famous feat was defeating the Ten Tails and his own mother alongside his brother Hagoromo, where they both successfully sealed her in the end. Now naturally, just like with Indra and Ashura, the next man to make the list is the more powerful of Kaguya's sons, the Sage of Six Paths himself, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. Not only did he defeat his brother Hamura when he was mentally manipulated by his mother Kaguya Otsutsuki, but he would then go on to seal the Ten Tails inside himself, only to become even more powerful and alongside his brother, seal his mother Kaguya Otsutsuki, meaning Hagoromo was already the naturally stronger of the 2 siblings and would gain even further power by becoming the Ten Tails Jinchuriki after sealing it inside himself. Hence, truth be told, let's just say he was certainly qualified for the role and title of the Sage of Six Paths and the father of Ninshu for the shinobi world, with the number 5 spot going to Madara Uchiha, specifically in his Ten Tails Jinchuriki form. Now, for those wondering why he is above the Sage of Six Paths himself, Hagoromo actually blatantly stated that one Rinnegan Jubidara was relative to himself, allowing us to deduce that by the time Madara had 3 eyes, he was more than likely even above the likes of the Sage of the Six Paths. Being one of the greatest villains in all of anime, not only was Madara a prolific character, but also an insanely powerful antagonist. He would basically go unchallenged until the very tail end of the war arc, achieving the feat of becoming Ten Tails Jinchuriki and attaining 2 Rinnegan, as well as even activating the Infinite Tsukuyomi. With these tools, he would essentially have near immortality, high levels of regeneration, durability, limbo clones, and by far the most impressive speeds we've ever seen up until that point in the narrative. Now, I know I am getting into very deep and contentious waters scaling 3-eyed Madara here and not any higher on the list. However, I will substantiate his placing as we go further into the top 5, but if you personally have him higher than this, please feel free to express your thoughts in the comments, as admittedly, we never got to see what 3-eyed Madara was capable of in a long drawn out battle due to the unfortunate exit he was given, meaning I am forced to inevitably speculate where 3-eyed Madara would scale. At number 4, we got Sasuke Uchiha, specifically once he obtained Six Paths power and chakra. He and Naruto, once attaining these new abilities and levels of power, would go on to physically press and actually challenge one Rinnegan Jubidara, which actually caused Jubidara to become concerned for the first time the entire war arc, with Sasuke even being able to intercept Jubidara when attempting to blitz Kakashi. Additionally, he would later be displayed striking Kaguya while utilizing his perfect Susanoo and also dodging an Ashbone. However, to be fair, heavy gravity did throw off Kaguya's aim in an altercation. And to also note, Sasuke is above Jubidara, as he would state that Kaguya has far greater chakra than Madara, implying she's a far greater and more powerful combatant, again, having his own successes even against her. However, truth be told, his most impressive feats would come against Naruto in the Valley of the End, where he would absorb the chakra of all 9-tailed beasts and then shoot off one of the most powerful jutsu we would ever witness up until that point in time in Naruto history. Aside from this, Sasuke wields abilities such as interdimensional teleportation, the Amino Tejikara, which allows for the swapping of location with both living things and inanimate objects, and multiple derivations of the Amaterasu. In this battle with Naruto, he would be relative enough to stalemate Naruto, blowing off Naruto's arm, along with his own, when they would come to their final jutsu clash to determine the fate of the shinobi world. We now get into the top 3, with number 3 going to the main character himself, Naruto Uzumaki. He, like Sasuke, would display very impressive feats against one Rinnegan Jubidara after obtaining Six Paths power, casually kicking away one of his true seeking orbs and combating him competitively as well alongside Sasuke. He would later be displayed even having better feats than Sasuke against Kaguya, where he would dodge an Ashbone from Kaguya nearly at point blank range, where unlike in the Sasuke event, Kaguya did not iterate that gravity threw off her aim here, indicating that Naruto dodged a faster attack by Kaguya than Sasuke did, and he would also be displayed hitting Kaguya with his Sage Art Super Bijou Rasen Shuriken, which not only damaged her, but made her body react negatively to it because of the Bijou chakra involved in this attack, indicating that Naruto is more capable of challenging Kaguya than Sasuke. Finally, we see Naruto get the best of Sasuke in the Valley of the End, where even holding back and lacking killer intent, he was able to force Sasuke to concede and change his ways. He would display high levels of AP, speed, durability, and even intelligence in his battle against Sasuke, possessing abilities such as a Bijou Avatar, Senjutsu Enhanced Jutsu, and high levels of regeneration, which resulted in him saving the shinobi world in the process. We now get to the Otsutsuki tier, with spot number 2 going to Kakashi Hatake, specifically in his DMS form. Now, despite the short duration we would see Kakashi in this form, without only being about a chapter's length in the manga to be exact, Kakashi would display the very pinnacle of speed and AP in that short time. To really put into perspective how powerful Kakashi was, Naruto and Sasuke had little to no success against newly awakened Kaguya, while conversely, Kakashi would blatantly speed blitz and significantly damage Kaguya after a literal exponential increase in her power, which is truly immensely impressive. Hence, Kakashi had more success against the same opponent exponentially times stronger than Naruto and Sasuke did, even with help from Obito, Kakashi, and Sakura. With DMS, Kakashi was capable of wielding a perfect Susanoo, even superior to that of Sasuke's, and wield the fastest iteration of Kami would ever see, with the giant shuriken he would utilize, being capable of achieving a level of speed that would challenge even an exponentially times stronger Kaguya and damage her. Hence, it's honestly kind of unfortunate we only saw Kakashi in this form for such a short duration, as he was truly on the Mount Rushmore of the Naruto verse. And finally, at number 1, being the most powerful entity in the Naruto verse.
I was right! He had Kaguya. What'd I say? What'd I fucking say? Hey. What's it called? I'll give my thoughts towards the end and give a little bit more contentiousness to it overall, but this is a pretty good list. It's a pretty good list. Like, if we're being as objective as possible, right? Like, just plain objective, this would basically follow through. You know what I mean? For the most of it, you know, and whatnot, you name it. Now, obviously, if we're being plain devil's advocate or, you know, going through the contentiousness of all of it, you know, that's a whole other can of worms, but this is really good. Really good.
As I'm sure no one is surprised, we have Kaguya Otsutsuki. Being described as a much greater threat than Jubidara, Kaguya for the majority of her altercation with Team 7 would dominate, while actually holding back for a good portion of it, which many people aren't even aware of, by the way. Truth be told, it took one heck of a Deus Ex Machina for her defeat to come to fruition, i.e. DMS Kakashi, if we are being honest, alongside her very convenient, almost primal, subpar mind when it comes to her intelligence, with her intelligence paling in comparison to most of the other antagonists in the past, such as Madara and Pain. Aside from this, we learn she is capable of both creating and destroying entire time-space continuums or universes that are most likely around the size of the main universe solar system, when observing several celestial bodies and the time-space she was going to engulf with her expanding truth-seeking orb. Being the mother of chakra itself within a shinobi world, Kaguya possesses a plethora of immensely powerful abilities, such as her expansive truth-seeking orb, the Byakugan, the Rene Sharingan, and immortality. Hence, she is by far and away the most powerful entity we ever see pre-Boruto, being the only one even remotely close to a solar system level of power or solar system buster, and is so powerful in fact that again, Kishimoto had to devise a way to make her defeat make some logical sense to the reader. And there you guys have it. That is my ranking of the top 20 characters in the Naruto verse, ranked from weakest to strongest. And of course, despite my calculated approach when creating these rankings, I'm still very aware of the disagreements some of you may have. So please feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section below.
So overall, really great video. Very, very good video, especially if we're going mainly really as objective as possible. Very, very great video. But I like the video. Really, really good. You know, he did a really good job. He did a very good analysis and basically a very simple general consensus without having to really get too deep into it. You know what I mean? Because that's at the end of the day, I'm sorry. Like, if you try to play devil's advocate with all this and make it way, you know, and get into the contentious of this video is going to be so fucking long. You know what I mean? At that point, you know, but overall, like, if you try to keep it as simple as possible and just have a very straightforward general consensus, this is the best way to do it, where there can be a good amount of vagueness, you know, or a certain amount, of things that maybe seem, one-sided or not, or whatever, blah, blah. But, like, it's pretty good, and overall, like, his placements were really good. I'll turn the volume off for now and go through it real quick, but it was really good for the most part. So, like, let me go here. Yeah, and so then he had Minato, then he had Nagato, then it was, I think it was Kabuto. Yeah, then it was Kabuto, and then it was Itachi. And that right there, that's where it gets really, really contentiousness between, like, Minato, Itachi, Seijima Kabuto, and then even Minato. Like, that's where it gets really, really crazy, and whatnot. And there's all kinds of angles you could play it off. You could either have Minato technically above all of them. You could even technically have him even above someone like, actually, now thinking about it, you could even have him above, like, people like Hashirama and Madara if you go a certain angle. Or you could just have Minato just at least above Itachi and Nagato, and Seijiro Kabuto, things like that. Or you would just have them all the way down, like, as Jay did. And then you could have, Itachi, where Jay put him at, basically. Or it's, like, really interesting between all of that, Like, overall, it's really, really interesting. So at the end of the day, like, those characters, that's where it definitely would be contentiousness. And then when you got to, like, everything else is very straightforward. Everything else is pretty. The only thing that was contentious was Sakura being number 10. That was contentious because basically he had Sakura over Mike Guy. And so, like, that would be very contentious. Sakura being a 10, like, that's, a lot of people are going to be like, I don't know, so on and so forth. Because I think she just doesn't even belong in this list, period. But what's it called? Or you could argue why she would, once again, with everything Jay provided. So it's like, that's definitely gonna raise some noses or, like, some eyebrows, basically. Another thing was basically Jubi Madara and Kaguya. That would be very contentious. You can go either way, along with in correlation to, Naruto and Sasuke and so on and so forth, you name it, things like that. So just want to put that out there. But overall, like, it's basically around, like, those parts, and then where it gets, back to the war before, as we discussed. So, but overall, a very, very good video. Really good video. Can't complain. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like. Comment your thoughts down below. Subscribe for more content. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think. Who do you think is, like, the top 20? Just write it in the comments. You know what I mean? Write it down. You don't have to explain, but just put, like, your list or whatever, you name it. Or if you want to explain or, like, whatever, go for it. Type whatever you want. But yeah, no. Overall, I thought it was really good. So, but if you guys liked it, go make sure to give him all the love too. Check out his video, you name it, or other content that he has. And as always, guys, Batman out.